Thank you. All right. All right, first thing on the agenda is, can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented this evening?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for that. Do we have anyone signed up for public comments this evening?
No, sir.
All right.
Medieval times, and so they had a pretty great time. The weather cooperated with us, and we made it back with the same amount of kids that we left with. We didn't fully check to make sure they were still ours, but account's account, and all the adults came back and survived. So it was a long day, but it was a really great experience for the kids. So thanks for letting us all go. Other than that, I have nothing
Remember
else to
Angie
add.
taking those when over at Frankton? When you, I don't know if you went on one of those or not. Eighth grade Chicago trip, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Thank you for that. Any other further comments? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for that. Thank you for that work, Jill. Appreciate that. Next thing on the agenda is our financial report this evening, the board treasurer and February 2026 financials.
Okay. I think everybody has a copy here. I put it again on legal so we could spread it out, make it a little bit bigger. We tonight do have a copy of our amended budget for the current year. We were hoping to have that before I sent out my pre-meeting report. As I stated in that report, actually my figures are a little obsolete. This budget will be our latest projection for year-end results because there were no changes on actual, and we did come up with, I met, Jill met, and Bookkeeping Plus is here. Good, they've joined us. And we did try to see if perhaps we had overstated any expenses a year ago when we put the budget together. And so our newest numbers here, which I've copied down, basic support is the same. That's on, I've got these lines numbered to hopefully make it a little easier to follow my discussion. But the basic support is what is hurting us the most, as we know. And Jill has calculated the changes from, was it March through June or April through June, I think. Yeah, April through June. And since our last board meeting, we're losing $217,806. So any problems on the bottom line is basically because of that. When you have unexpected lower numbers of enrollment, it is difficult to correct everything in the short term. Again, we just have received this here today. I think in grant income is going to be pretty close to what we had stated in our numbers here in the board package. The new total income, including the loans and loan proceeds for our computer purchase back in August, September, and our draws against our line of credit, is now $10,673,924, and that is a marked improvement from what we were looking at here in our board package just a day or two ago, and then the last board meeting. And unfortunately, we still are showing a cash loss, but certainly much better, $492,924. And then that improves our ending cash balance to $147,879. And then on our cash flow spreadsheet, we can add $42,000 to that because we do have some CSP reimbursements which are earned. Of course, that's an accrual concept, but we'll take any money we can get any way we can. We should get that hopefully in July, so that would, I believe, pump that number up a little bit. So I certainly like the amended budget much better. And one thing that I did discuss in my report, and then this will lead into Beth, I think, did you see my email about your comments? I was wanting you, let me explain or kind of give a lead into that. One has to be careful because certain entries will increase or decrease something more than is actual, let's say, reality or economic reality. And I think we have been educating ourselves here over the last couple years as to how to properly interpret that. And when you're trying to compare income today with where it was a month ago, for example, it will look like that our income has increased greatly, perhaps over a budget or something, because we include the loan proceeds and the line of credit. But the line of credit is short-term interim financing, basically to cover our pre-K expenses until our CSP2 reimbursements come in. So actually, and then also as I had on line 11 and 12, if you're just looking at our debt service number here on the cash flow statement, it looks like, my gosh, we must have borrowed a whole bunch more money, because a year ago it was like 533,000, and now it's showing 1,096,749. Well, again, that can be deceptive. It's not that we're borrowing much more or that we're doing much better with increasing our income, or even spending more money with an increase in expenses, but the reporting on a cash basis of the LOC draws, which are promptly paid back, sometimes very, very quickly, that inflates it. So it's, again, this is another example of how one has to be careful in interpreting the financial statements and the numbers we're given, because we don't want to draw any wrong conclusions. So I just wanted to expand upon that for, this is a school, I guess, so it's fitting that we board members are learning and getting educated too. And then our additional metrics, which we are interested in tracking. I don't know if we're going to hit the 132,000 for sub-expense, which we had the last 2 years, but we're now up to about 116,000. We'll see. And I think we're still ahead of the game on our net health insurance premiums, although those are steadily rising, and we've talked about they probably will go up next year regardless of what type of coverage we have. And we know that the debt service coverage ratio is it's cumulative, and it's difficult to forecast ahead of time because it's based on accrual numbers, but it is down to 0.47, a number we have visited before, and that is lower than the 1.25 required by the bank. But I don't think that's surprising in terms of enrollment numbers, a little lower. And then below, I'm showing February's monthly results, and then I've kept January and December, and again, you can read this at your leisure. And then 19, 20, and 21, I said, well, February in one sentence, January in one sentence, December in one sentence. Well, February's number, monthly number, 282,136, good number. And that was mostly because we actually got some grant income, like about 191,000 Title I, and a total of 218,000. And January's bad number in one sentence was, well, mostly we only had 22,846 in total grant income, which is almost nothing. So, and that the results there are going to be obvious. And December, in slight loss in one sentence, basically comes down to that rather than January or February, we got the second installment of our innovation grant in December, which helped almost eliminate our operating loss. Now, that pretty much is all I have to share, and then we'll all be digesting our new amended budget here to see what changes were made. And this will lead in then to Beth. Beth shared some comments with me Sunday after I sent out my pre-meeting review. And she pointed out something that I had not caught. But you said that one reason that the bottom line numbers looked much worse than the last board meeting. Last board meeting, it was as stated, $624,000 loss, and with what's in our board package before the amended budget, $791,000. And you said a lot of that was because of our CSP2 grant. Our grant renewal has not been approved yet, and yet all of those expenses are still in our budget because we know we'll be getting it and all that. But
It's now been approved. See, it wasn't approved at the time.
Yes.
Welcome.
That was the whole thing. It wasn't approved at the time when we did these, but it's now approved. And so now we can go back and ask for it. But until it gets approved, we don't want to sit there and say, we're going to for sure get it. I mean, it was pretty likely that we were, but we don't want to overstate it in case we don't. We go, oh, so sorry, we didn't. You know, as far as that. I mean, so that was one factor. And then you were talking about the line of credit.
Yes, and am I explaining that correctly to everyone?
One of the things in February, the income, you did receive Title I, that is correct, the 191, but you did take we did take a draw on the line of credit, which was 275,000.
Yeah.
So really, from so far this year, between line of credit proceeds, where we took the money, took draws on it, as well as the computers, which we financed those and then paid for them, the proceeds were $785,000. So our income went down in total by almost $18,000, of which $505,000 of it is made up of the basic grant, is what it really boils down to. I mean, between the basic grant and innovation, because we don't receive all that, that's what the majority of that is. And then we've had, on the flip side, in the expenses, we are showing $551,000 of payback of the line of credit.
Right.
So those two numbers really skew our numbers when you're looking at it. So you have to take those numbers out, but unfortunately, it's part of the cash flow because they're coming in and coming out.
Yeah.
And so that's the only thing. I mean,
Now, would it be skewed as badly on the accrual financials? Probably not, would it?
well, no, on the accrual financials.
Because that's
it's all
why they have
balance sheet.
accruals to make
Well,
it more
but
accurate.
No, it's nothing. It doesn't even affect. It's all on the balance sheet, so that's not even affected on the accrual side. It's not. It's all on the balance sheet. It's not on the P&L or profit and loss statement. So that's the problem. Is this is just cash in and cash out. So that's why we look at it from that perspective. Now, the only other thing that we can do that maybe makes it easier for the board is we can take those lines and we can sort of do what we do with the CSP, and we can net the two. So it's netting the two out, so the line sort of nets itself across, and it's all in one, and so then you see what your real income is, and it sort of then nets the expenses as well, because we always show that line of credit being paid back in the future month. So we can do that if we wanted to. We could do that.
Well,
But I just want to point that out.
if you advise, if you think that's good, don't feel
I mean,
that.
it doesn't matter. I mean, the real way
Yeah.
you're doing it is the way we're doing it, but it can be adjusted because the net effect is the same.
Well, if you feel it's worth it, that means a little more work for you guys. Yeah, anything makes it
Well, it's
clear,
not.
but.
I mean, it's no different for, I mean, it's just the line where we put it,
Okay,
so.
yeah.
So we can do that, but
Okay.
that's the real difference as far as that was, because we just have, because of the way grants are when they get approved, and then, we had the lower ADM, so then that lowered it, so it's just a combination
Yeah.
of several things.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's see.
Any other questions on that?
Yeah,
just wanted to prove
that's
that
all
before
I
we
had.
decided.
Any other topics or questions,
Thank
feel
you,
free to
Dave.
jump in.
No, I appreciate that. Any questions at all?
Thank you, Beth. I'd rather have you explain that than me stumbling through it, so.
That's okay.
Because that
Just let me know.
CSP2 pre-K is a little murky for all of us here.
I
Although
know it
eventually
is.
it'll have its own income, or own statement, which I think we can probably handle that, so.
Thanks, Dave, for that. Appreciate that. Any other questions? Need a motion to approve the financial report as presented this evening?
I'll make a motion.
Thanks.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for that. Next thing is the old business under the budget amendment, but I know we just talked about
Oh.
it. Do we need to put a motion to discuss on that?
Beth, do you have more that you want to
Yeah.
discuss on the budget amendment?
Yeah.
Only thing on the budget amendment, I think I think Joe had in the report as well. But I mean, we've worked really hard on trying to find ways that we can cut things. Jill and I, honestly, and Sandy, we've been working honestly all year on this. This isn't just like something that's new that in the last couple months that we've done this. We've been working all year because, things have been going down and we're always mindful of that. And then when we saw in February, we were working on that before, and just making some adjustments. I mean, the biggest problem you have is, to be honest, is you've got to make sure that you're not compromising the school and the education that they're receiving and just pulling people out. You can't just get
Yeah.
rid of things. I mean, and then that doesn't.
That'll
help
make
with that
enrollment
morale
worse
as well.
even, yeah.
So you've got to look at those sides, you've got to weigh that with it. I mean, obviously, we're going to be looking at it for next year, and it will be a little bit easier. I'm not saying it's not going to be complicated, but it's a little bit easier than this late in the year. So, we've really looked at things that relate to the CSP, if there's anything we could do with that, and we've adjusted that. We've really just combed through everything to try to find ways that we can cut back. And, and with that, I mean, I feel like we can. We still have at the end of the year, which again, it's not ideal, but we do have a $500,000 line of credit. I mean, as of right now, we're showing it almost 148,000 positive. Now that's still keeping about 276 that we have on the line of credit, but we still, like I said, we have still some left for that. So we're just going to have to really look very strongly at next year's and find ways we can do that when we have, honestly, a little more planning. I mean, Jill and I are already planning on, talking at the end of the week and the first of next week and meeting to start on the budget as far as that goes. So we were already in the works of it and we've been discussing. So that's sort of where we are, and that's basically what I wanted to say.
Do you have an idea of what budget ADM you might use, or is it too early to say?
No, we really don't. We've even talked about, obviously with the new situation with the potential of that school opening. I mean, if they do open, in fact, of looking at that.
Oh, yeah.
Looking at where we are currently, and, we're taking all those factors into play as to far as what we're doing with the ADM. So we haven't completely got to that, but we're working through that.
Mhm.
Thank you. Would you be comfortable getting a motion to approve the budget for that? All right. Thank you for the discussion for that.
Do we need a
Yes.
motion?
Yeah, we just need
Just
to
to
get
be,
approval.
yeah, just get approval for that. So if I
Okay.
could get a motion to approve the 2025-2026 budget amendment.
Maybe I better
as
not, as
presented.
treasurer. I'm not supposed to, I don't think.
I make a motion that we approve the revised 2025-26 revised budget.
Thank you.
I'll second.
And we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for that. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Bookkeeper
Thanks,
Buzz.
guys.
We appreciate it as always. And thanks, Dave, also for the financial reports. Ms. Shively, can you show Ms. Fulton as she's on virtual? Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Yes. All right, next thing on the agenda here under new business is the APA Spotlight. It was the APA online for Captain Morrison, but we're going to table that, correct?
Yes.
All right. We will table that one for our in the future meeting.
All right.
All right, next thing on the agenda is our APA Spotlight special programs. So first up, looks like we have our high ability with Captain Cornocker.
Your turn.
I have a little presentation.
Can you set up some? You sure? Okay.
And a mascot, a remote.
El remote no es.
Oh, yeah, the remote.
I feel like
the sit-ups a little differently.
Let's see.
It is a little,
Oh,
I don't wanna be like in the
There you
way.
go,
Our
there you
cord
go.
got a little sick. We do have a really cool new thing that we're gonna try, but not today because we go to Amazon. Sorry.
Do you have a long cord?
We did, but it,
Grew legs.
Oh.
it didn't grow legs.
I was gonna say, I think that was like.
It just
25
got really
foot.
banged up.
Yeah.
And you can only bend the port insert so many times. Look at that.
That's not good with the colors. Right, I'm kind of anal-retentive sometimes on my slideshows. Okay, so just to start with a recap of our special programs. We had developed as our program mission statement, we had to create that for the handbook that we created. So just it's to support and encourage the growth, interest, and social emotional needs of gifted and talented learners through differentiated curriculum and instruction focused on critical and complex thinking, high-level questioning, and collaboration. And then the program's vision is to inspire and empower gifted and talented learners to reach their fullest potential through a dynamic and inclusive educational environment that fosters critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration, nurturing their unique interests and social emotional growth. So we use those two statements in our goal setting and our moving forward with our students. Just some brief program numbers. This is how many kids we have in each of these grade levels right now. We're at 89. We've lost, I think, 2 we lost this year that were enrolled at the beginning that have lost now. And then if you look at the numbers closely, and I like to do deep dives into data a lot, the number of high ability students is a little bit higher in those, I don't know what that was, the older grade levels. You can, to me, if I was a researcher and would do a longitudinal study of COVID, I would maybe look at where those younger kids where we have lower numbers. Those were our kindergarten and first grade students, preschool students when the pandemic first started. So I mean, I'm not a researcher, I don't know for sure, but I could guess that might be part of it. And then our iLearn data and our iRead data as a whole also reflects with that. Our grade 4, our data, the student data is a little lower with that group as well, and it reflects that in our high ability numbers as well. Some highlights of the program this past year. We had 100% passing rate on the ASVAB, so every one of our high ability seniors received a passing score on ASVAB. 84% met the English SAT benchmark this year. 26% met both. Those scores just came in. And then we had several kids that are at least eligible to be considered for a National Merit Scholarship in the fall. I don't think their scores are probably quite high enough to get that, but they will get some kind of recognition from College Board for at least being eligible for that. We had a junior last year that got recognition for being the top 10% of scores for that as well. We had the addition of new summer professional development this last summer. We created a micro-credentialing course, basically just because it's really expensive to send the teachers to college to get their actual high ability license. So this was a course that we actually got pieces of it from the National Gifted Conference that we went to, and were able to develop that and adapt it for APA, and had, I think, 12 teachers and a principal come through and participate in that with us this summer, and that was it was exciting, and I tasked them with going out and now being the advocates in the other buildings, because it's hard for me to be in 3 places at one time, advocating all the time for them. We've had an increase in AP course offerings, and I put Cameron Moore's name on here because I do think he deserves a shout out for that. He's really made a push here at the high school to increase those kinds of offerings, and then even in his honors classes, he he really gets what high ability education is supposed to look like. And his push benefits all of our students by increasing those courses, because obviously kids that are not officially identified do take those classes. So everybody benefits by learning best practices. And then I put the AP trip to Chicago, but Jill covered that pretty thoroughly. So another highlight that we had is we did take a group of students we got invited to be in like the inaugural Indiana Academy's Academic Invitational over fall break. And so even though I was just finishing up my medical leave from surgery, I packed up a small bus and took some kids over to Ball State to participate in that. And they got 3rd place in this Echo Construct competition, and then they got 5th in the English Analogy, and I think there was like 15 different schools there. So they did pretty well, and they were pretty excited. They got medals for the 3rd place one, and we just had a good day together. It was fun for me. They're 8th graders, but I had them all when they were in 2nd grade, so it was kind of fun to hang out with them now that they're a little more like grown up. So it was fun for that. And then we also, while this wasn't particularly completely coordinated for the high ability students, we had the Ivy Tech STEM Lab came to our elementary school in September and set up in the parking lot. They just brought like a trailer and set it up, and all of our students at the elementary school got to go in for a class throughout the week. And while that's something we brought to address some of our high ability students' needs, again, it's something that in the long run then benefits all of our students from getting that hands-on learning experiences. All right, so our high ability program plan, this is what we submit to the state every year. It's just got our mission statements, things that the plan that we use for identification. Just in summary, we assess our kindergarten, 2nd, 5th, and 8th grade students every spring, and it's the whole grade level gets assessed. So we'll start doing that towards the beginning of May, I think, into April, beginning of May. I don't have it completely scheduled out, but that is the plan. We use a couple of different tests for various reasons that I'll get into when I share the demographic data, but we use the OLSAT for 5th and 8th graders, and then we use the Naglieri ability tests with our younger kids because it's less language based, so it gives us a little more equitable measurement of high ability students. And then just our score requirements are listed here. We'll utilize NWA for students that are on the bubble, and other data like our IXL data and classroom data can play a small role. But this piece is what we file with the state and every year, all these procedures and our website, and we set our different goals. I have that on another page too, so. From there, demographics and data. Overall, a goal with a high ability program is always to try to mirror as closely as you can the demographics of your school. We, like most high ability programs, fall a little short in that, but we don't fall as short as we used to. We are getting better. The Naglieri has helped us in identifying students that might not have been identified before because of either they're multi-language learners or they're a twice exceptional student, sometimes auditory processing, different things like that. The Naglieri kind of plays a role in those.
I'm sorry, can you explain like the 2% there, like on that first
Yeah,
line?
so-
Like what do those numbers mean? Sorry.
That's okay. So this just puts the number of students identified in the math area as 2% of the 4th grade.
Oh, okay, so that's like 4th grade, okay.
Yeah, so this is the grade level across the top as well as the number of students that was in that grade. So
Yeah.
if we're looking at 4th grade there's 46 4th graders that were measured when we pulled this data. And this data is from 24-25 because it's always a year behind. And so that just shows how many, the percentage of the grade level that is identified.
Are we tracking the demographics as well, or just the grade?
Yes, we are. So as we go down to here, they ask us to look at our twice exceptionals, our ML learners, and then their ethnicities. And so the biggest area that we would like to, we need to increase identification and continue finding new ways to find this, because it's, in my opinion, it's not that the percentage is lower, it's just the identification tools aren't completely pulling everything yet, and that's a consistent battle. I spent my entire time while I was getting my licensure, they would say, you need alternative testing strategies. And I was like, okay, so what are those alternative testing tools? And they're like, well, you just need alternative testing tools. So we're constantly looking for alternative testing tools that are gonna help us change those percentages and get them to match up.
Like trying to create something out of nothing that doesn't exist, or
Yes.
That also meets
wonder about
state
that.
and national regulations.
Yes. Yeah, because there was a brief moment where they thought they were going to yank the high ability funding. We got the emails from both associations like, please, we don't usually ask you to do this, but email and tell them not to take our funding. This is just the kind of academic measures we use. But then as we come down here, talks about our minutes and instructional level. This is just something that we track. It was interesting. So I first started doing this for the 22-23 school year through a course that a program I got to take part in, and then was really excited because the next year the state asked for the information. I was like, yes, I already have it all done. And then they really haven't asked for it again in our grant applications. But I've continued to do it because it is good data.
Very, very good, yeah.
And then it goes further into actually the iLearn and those scores. And while our percentages are higher than the gen ed population, our number that we're looking at is smaller too. So it's hard with a sampling size that we have to really decide how accurate that is. But I also would love to see those percentages being increased. I'd like to see 80 to 90% of our high ability students passing and being at proficiency for these. Mr. Henry and Ms. Trotter and I are gonna hopefully get some work done this summer and the fall to start trying to see what we can do at the pre-academy level with the teachers to continue to try to grow our high ability program and increase our performances. So that's just the kind of data that I collect for the students. That year we had 5 out of our 6 students pass iRead, so that was really great. I think right now we only have 1 high ability student, 2 high ability students that still have not passed, and one of them is a multi-language learner, so we're overcoming some things there, and the other is being evaluated for an IEP. And actually through our high ability testing, we identified that she's most likely a twice exceptional student, because when we did the Naglieri with her, she was automatic, wasn't even a bubble, qualified as a language arts high ability student, but she was reading at a kindergarten, 1st grade level. So immediately we saw that discrepancy in what her ability and her achievement was, and so then that's when the next special programs came in. I was like, hey, Cassie, we need to look at this kid. So we've been working on that with her and her family. And then we didn't have very many 2nd graders, but they both passed iRead as 2nd graders.
And that's the 3rd grade iRead?
It's the 3rd grade, yeah.
That's
The
what I
2nd grade
thought,
takes
but-
the 3rd grade iRead test, and in that year, both of our identified high ability students passed it. As a 2nd grader, we did have one of our high ability 2nd graders got a perfect score this year on the test, so that was super
Awesome.
exciting. We don't tend to get as many perfect scores anymore because we give it in 2nd grade. We're giving our high ability kids are doing okay on, they pass iRead or have high scores on that, but they're not quite getting perfect because it is a whole grade level ahead of theirs, so we were excited
I'm gonna put
to see that.
asterisks on that, not to violate FERPA, however.
She is a legacy student as well. Both of her parents attended APA, so.
Oh, right.
Just saying on that.
And then as we get further, well, I also just keep track of how many of our high ability students are taking their 8th grade courses, like their honor courses and the AP classes, and getting their quartile credits in academic honors diploma. That year, the percentage getting the academic honor diploma was a little disappointing. I'd like to see that go up as well. But we did have, every single one of them had earned dual credits when they graduated. So that was definitely a positive. So basically we use this data to help make decisions and grow. So this data has is what Cameron's used to increase our AP offerings, to increase the way we approach those and prepare for the AP tests. So we were doing AP classes, but we weren't necessarily getting the points we needed to also earn those credits. So he has started study programs and a success class.
That's kind of what I was gonna ask. Are those AP classes, are they getting high enough grades to get those credits? Because I know my kiddo did not, so.
They're getting high enough grades, but they're not performing as great on the test, which is typical with AP class. I mean, those are really, the AP is a much harder route to go to getting college credit as a high schooler than the dual credit classes go. But I think I'm interested to see as he continues to increase his study programs. He's piloting a success period with them this year to see how that goes to improve. So I'm hoping that we're getting the results that we want.
I know we had 1-3 last year, which gets them into that if the college accepts it and honors that. So we're moving in that direction.
Yes, it was our first 3 in a long time. So here's a couple of our kiddos at our STEM lab. These are our kiddos that won their medals, and then just some other kids in a high ability class doing some hands-on learning there. And then these are our program goals. We had a couple others, but these are like the highlighted ones. One was to continue to look for additional screening. We screen our 8th graders, and it's not, the only state requirement is kindergarten, 2nd, and 5th grade now. They go back and forth, and we decided just to leave the 8th grade to help catch any other students that came into the corporation after 5th grade that weren't identified before, and those similar things. So we're continually looking for that. We're continually looking to build professional development for our staff, so they understand what a high ability student looks like. They are not always your sweetest children in your class, even though some teachers get that, the kids that are my high ability kids are the kids that are sitting there quiet and doing what I told them to, and actually, no, your class that talks too much and calls you out on, are you sure that's the right way to do it? Those are more likely to have those characteristics. So there's some good trainings that we've created that shows them different snapshots or profiles of high ability learners and the different kinds that we're going to continue to work with our staff and our students. And then we are working to try to increase our college and career counseling for our teachers, or not our teachers, for our students. Just giving them a little bit more support in how to use that 21st century scholarship that they might have. It's a really hard process, and you have to do lots of steps. And so I know that Ms. Averite has already started to, she's had a couple meetings this year for those. And Ms. Carmer, they went to a training at Ball State last spring along with the elementary counselor. And then we are talking about a large number of the National Honor Society students are high ability students as well. And so Mr. Stottlemyre and I have been talking about how we can maybe incorporate more college and career building into that National Honor Society program as well. Do some more college visits and help them. How do you do an application? I know I had to help. I worked with a student on how to do FAFSA, and he couldn't meet some of the meetings that were provided. So they just don't always don't have that support, and they might not have somebody at home that has had that experience either. So being that person for them here at school is what we want to do, and just expose them to as much as they can see so that they can make decisions on what to do with their talents. So those are our goals, and I'm pretty sure this is my last slide.
I got a question on that slide.
This one?
Yeah. So ideally for you and your program, I'm reading the middle one, PD, professional development. It says, APA will work to begin to recruitment plan to increase the number of certified teachers on staff. Ideally for you, running the program, what would be the best beneficial PD for you? We can send you to Ball State all day long, we can send you to these certified programs. What would be, in your opinion, I mean, I was gonna bring this up in my next question, we have 53 seniors, but only 6 are high, above average development, right?
Yes.
You can attribute it to COVID all you want. Your seniors were in 5th grade, your juniors were in 4th grade.
Right.
The high dropout rate for Madison County are the juniors and 8th graders. Those are your highest above average.
Mhm.
So what can we do to, A, increase it, and B, help to decrease the dropout rate?
To increase like the number of high ability
Yes.
students, it's always gonna be at, a true high ability number is always probably gonna be in that 2 to 5% of the class range, just based on nature and nurture and natural IQ for that. You can't really build the IQ too much, but what we could do to increase those numbers with the dropout is to catch and identify them early and start feeding those skills and talents so that they don't lose any of their abilities, because there are some studies that show that students that don't get fed brain food and get those experiences will have apathy, and then a lot of high ability students do end up dropping out the first time something gets hard, or quitting that job because they're so used to everything's supposed to come easily for us. Like, I get straight A's, I do this. I know when my own children went to college, I spent the entire senior year telling them how hard college was going to be, and that was okay and it was expected. It's supposed to be hard. You're not supposed to go and get straight A's. It's okay. So if you don't do well in a class, it's not the end of the world. Partly for their mental health, because I don't want them being like, okay, well, I'm done, I'm out.
And it would be a good idea to buy the books too.
Yes, yeah, it's worth to buy the books, but
Open them.
so the more opportunities in our AV classes and our honor classes to let those kids fail without harsh consequences, because we can say all we want, it's okay to fail, but those high ability students if you give them an F in a class, they're going to self-destruct. So how can we get them to fail and come back and learn and still master without that self-destruction, so that then they're prepared the first time a boss is mean to them or gives them a task that is a little bit challenging for them.
So what's the best PD that we could do for you?
For me,
That's the important one.
Yeah,
Disney, going to the one in Disney.
For me, the one in Disney World was really great. The National Gifted Conference and the state conference are the best ones for me to go. I haven't gotten to go to the state one yet, but I've gone to the national conference a couple times, and I just have gotten a lot of really good information. That micro-credentialing one made me cry. I cried. And then I also found the Naglieri testing there too, and I got to meet Dr. Naglieri, so then I was like a nerdy fangirl meeting this man who created this like ability test that it's like, I think this is the smartest person I've ever been in a room with. So those conferences are really great, and then you get to, it always feels good to talk to other coordinators and know that like some of the things, our struggles are the same struggles that they have too, no matter what size the school is. So the state has like, they're kind of off track, but they're getting back on track. They were having monthly like coordinator meetings that we could jump onto, and it was nice to hear them saying, oh yeah, we're struggling with this too. And it was a school that I knew has been around for decades, and I knew the school, and it's a huge school and it had the same kind of things to overcome that we do. So that's a positive, but they had some leadership change in the high ability department between, well, August and now. So there's still, so that kind of, they didn't have as many meetings this year for us.
So the Naglieri and the state conference.
It's the NAGC is the National Gifted Conference. Those conferences are the best ones to go to.
Just making sure, we got a wish list for y'all, so.
Okay. And then for increasing like the numbers of certified teachers, we're using our high ability grant to help pay for those classes and their testing scores. So we have 2 teachers that are, I think, on their third of 4 classes right now. Cameron being one of them, and then Derek Kramer is the other one. So we're trying to get them spread through.
Now, have we sustained any cuts in the high ability funding that, we have the one grant.
Right. It was a little lower this year, but then we just got our reallocation email today. And it was it was $3,300, so that was a pretty good.
Yeah, we'll still be about 2 under where we were last year,
Yeah.
but, yeah.
But we're,
They don't
nothing
really, I think we got
drastic.
around like 28, almost 29 last year, and then we got, I think we're
now
gonna get
we're
like
up.
almost 26, 27
Yeah,
this year.
yeah.
And they also got much stricter about how that money is spent.
Mhm.
So some of the programming that we were using it for, we can't necessarily still use in the same grade. So we were using it to help with some of our STEM materials and things like that. And they were like, well, if it's materials, you can buy that with your materials funds. I'm like, we
Oh.
don't have that funds that these other schools do. But yeah, but we were still able to put some good stuff in there.
Any other questions for Captain Hornacker? All right. Thank you for your
Very
time.
good.
This evening.
Yeah.
Great presentation, and thank you for all you're doing. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. All right, next thing on the agenda under our APA Spotlight is
Oh,
our
sorry, I tried.
multilingual learners from Captain Pruitt.
I tried to keep it cord for you, but it still fell, sorry. Yeah, I tried to hook it on there and it still.
Got you here.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, 2 more.
Hey, hi. I'm your party. How was work?
Sometimes I feel like I work with high schoolers.
Me too.
Okay, we are now, I mean,
Yes, Josh was pretty.
deep into the multilingual learner lingo instead of ELL. It changes all the time.
ML, everybody, ML.
ML. And some people are like, isn't it, what is happening?
Isn't it like yellow?
Your computer's possessed.
It's the wire again.
Jill.
Stop telling people that I'm messing with technology. It's true. But still.
Okay,
There we go.
so
Fixed it.
these,
Good job.
it's gonna flash like.
Wow.
Didn't fix it.
You fixed it really
Just in
well.
case you didn't know, I was epileptic.
I'm really sorry, but, yeah.
Maybe, no.
I'll be right back. Carry on, everybody. If I get far away from it.
You just have to read quickly.
Quick, yes.
All right, these are the APA ML plan. We have to do this in our grant, our title grant. We have to tell which plans we're gonna use. Oh,
Keep going. It's just working now that I'm not near it.
Okay. So our first one is the content-based English language development. That is, it focuses on content rather than language, and it refers to an approach to, well, maybe I'll just read from here. It refers to an approach to a second language teaching. Students learn the subject, which is using the language as learning rather than their native language. The learning tool helps develop knowledge so the student can develop their linguistic ability in target language. Although content is used with a variety of different meanings in language teaching, this is a more natural way of developing language ability because the words are presented with context in the content. And SIOP, that's our Sheltered Instruction Observation Protocol. It's research-based and it's validated instructional model that has proven effective in addressing the academic needs of English language learners throughout the United States. It has 8 interrelated components that is utilized in our schools. This model is, oh,
Oh, maybe you got it. Don't breathe.
Just swap it out.
It's
yes.
like, I would say, if the board only knew how much technology fights I've had over the last week,
okay, let's see.
between my cell phone and my computers.
Used to, we'd have to get some smart student to show us how to work it, but
Get it now.
Oh, this is a different one.
Right, right. So pause for,
Intermission?
want the
is-
intermission music
Where would
too.
HDMI 1 be? Anyone know? Here.
We're trying to switch the ports on the back. Maybe it was just a cord.
Agenda? Did I miss the agenda?
Miss what?
The agenda?
Oh, the agenda came like later. Jill
bring
wrote
it.
down.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't think it,
Yeah.
I think,
Go fast.
If you wanted to go look at it.
I'm gonna sneak out.
Okay, so the shelter, sorry, there we go. All right. It's the model of English language development that classroom teachers use to assist the English learners in their classroom. It will help develop English skills necessary to become more proficient in the academic language. That's what our goal is, to increase academic language from K to 12. Title Consortium. This year, okay, we received our Title III grant, which was previously managed by Consortium. We now have met the enrollment number to apply for our own grant, which we got, you have to get $10,000, and we got $10,492. So since the number of ML students has increased, it allows us to manage the funds and utilize the total amount to supplement the services for ML students. Because when it goes to a consortium, they have like 123 schools that have to split everybody's pot, and we're one of the higher money amounts in there, so we don't get all of our money when we go through there.
What's the number of students that we have to meet to get it?
I'm guessing like 86, because I think that's where we were at the last count, and it got us up. It depends on the language level, because like levels 1 and 2 get more money per student than when they're 3 and 4. It goes down a little bit if they're.
Because they need like
More
more
advanced
work when
they
they're.
get, yeah.
22.
And
Okay.
we get about 122 per student.
Mhm.
But, yeah, and we passed the Title III grant on our first application for
Yes,
revisions.
that was exciting.
So,
That was exciting.
Excited about
Our
that.
first one.
yes.
All right, so these are our student demographics. There's 131 Hispanic students, which is 19% of the student population. We have 2 foreign exchange students, Turkish and Danish. Our language minority students, there are 100 of those out of the 131, and 76% of those are Hispanic. And then our multilingual learners, those are the ones who require services. They're all language minority, but only 84 are multilingual learners. So those are the ones who are receiving the service.
Can I ask what that means? Like,
yeah,
that,
what's
so,
the difference?
yeah, like, so
Language
you've got-
minority, now, see, typically, like, there's 131 Hispanic students, and some of them have already met they've reached the level 5 in the testing, so they've tested out of WIDA. These are the students who are still taking the WIDA test and have not
At
yet.
like level 1 and 2, the 84 are
That's
like,
level 1 through 4. They,
Okay.
and then when they get
okay.
a 5, then they no longer participate in that, and they're exited out of the program.
Now, is that the total number of Hispanic students we have, or just
Mhm.
those that spoke no
No,
functional
those,
English?
the 131 is the total
Total,
Hispanic.
mhm.
Mhm.
oh, okay.
That's what makes up 90% of our population.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And
Okay.
one
that's
of our
what-
foreign exchange students actually is an ML student because she did not pass the screener when she came. The other one passed it. So, I mean, she mainly speaks English. So she is included in that number. This is the number of percent of students identified as language minority and ML at each grade level. So the top one is, well, we have 133 total, including the foreign exchange students. And so there's 7 kindergartners, 7 first graders, 9 second graders, 8 third graders, 3 fourth graders, 5 fifth graders, 9 sixth graders, 15 seventh graders, 14 eighth graders, 12 ninth graders, 19 10th graders, 12 11th graders, and 13 12th graders. Those are just
Wow.
the ones who are language minority. We have to do 2 separate reports we do a language minority report which grasps all of our kids. They don't count for money. Only the 84 do. So then you get down here and you see some of them drop down when they're actually multilingual learners. But I will say, our numbers, go up each year, like at ninth grade, because they come from like Holy Cross, and we get.
Oh,
Oh, that makes,
Because
that
they don't
makes
have high
sense.
school, so we end up
Okay.
getting some, and they transfer in and out, but we've stayed pretty steady this year. I think we had 86 or 7 at the beginning, and we go down, and we go back up, and so, I mean, you know, just the way it is with any of the students. These were our 2025 WIDA scores. It's administered, it is a federally mandated test, and we're supposed to have 100% participation. We've been able to do that except for 2 years because of virtual students, getting some of them to get in, and there's just, you know, as long as you can prove that you have tried to get them in, all the communication, everything, then, you know, they don't really say anything about it. We'll receive the 2026 assessment at the end of April, beginning of May, so that should be coming up. We'll see how they did this year. The kids asked me the next day, did I pass? I'm like, I won't know till the end of April, so. These are the WIDA comparison for 23-24 and 24-25. If you look, most of them stay, I mean, we average out about the same. We did have 2 in 23-24 scored a level 5, so they exited out of the program. But when you see increased scores, it's 40%, and down here it's 38, 37%. Well, let me go back to this one. You'll see the yellow and the green, that's the biggest population we have, are the level 3 and level 4. They get there and they get kind of stuck. You know, you can get them to go from a 3 to a 4, but it's hard, they'll go to like a 4.7, but then might go to a 4.2 the next year. So also when they decrease scores, that doesn't mean that they're really decreasing. It might go from a 3.4 to a 3.3, but it's a decrease in their score because they're supposed to be going up. We have targets for them.
Do you know why they kind of get, have you seen any type of trend on why that seems to be?
Well, a lot of times it's like we have clusters, like we have a kindergarten test and then a first grade test and then a second, third grade test. So when they start in second, they tend to not do as well, and then they go to third because they've already taken the same test. 4 and 5, then they're changing again. It's getting a little, you know, different material.
Okay.
So 4, they kind of go down. 5, they go back up. 6, 7, 6 through 8. Of course, when they go to 5th grade, then they go up to the 6th grade test, and you see them go back and forth. And then 9 through 12. It just depends. It also depends on how the kids are.
Right.
Testing is just not their favorite thing to do, and they
So
go, do we have
really
to have this to
it's-
graduate? And they're like, oh, okay, you know. Well,
So
no,
some of
but
that is just they're going to a new test.
They're going to a new test.
And so it's gonna be a little bit more
It's gonna be-
difficult
yeah,
than what they're,
And then they
okay.
might go back up the next year, but then the next year they change again, so, you
Okay.
know. And they don't really decrease that much. We haven't really had anybody drop way down. It's just,
Well, if they're seem to be staying in that level 3.
the
That's-
3 and 4 are our biggest ones.
Right.
3, obviously, it's 40% of our kids are level 3s.
Oh,
1s are usually our newcomers or kindergarten or first graders. 2s, you know, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, and then after they get past 3rd grade, they're usually in the 3-4 range.
Are there any, and you just said the kindergartners in first grade, but are there any certain level of a certain percentage of the level 3s that are getting a little extra attention, especially the ones in secondary?
Yeah, they do, they do. Ben Murray, he's the EL person or ML person from 6 to 12. And he has kids, he works with kids from 6 to 12. And they come down for him for services. He provides English language development. Ours all has to be supplemental to what they're getting in class, according to, you know, our grant. So, but he helps get our kids graduated in high school. These are the WIDAs. We have WIDA standards, just like standards for each grade level. Ours is the social and instructional language, language arts, language of math, language of science, and language of social studies. Now, I will show you. I don't remember how to do it.
So they get it in like math and then also?
Well, there's different, let me just do this the way I know how to do it. I can show you a better one. We have a the WIDA standards, oh. Now look what I did.
You broke that one too?
I broke it.
I cannot be held accountable for this one.
Oh, man, now I probably just ruined my whole, anyway, I'll show you this way. This is the WIDA standards, and this makes it easy for the teachers, because there's language expectations for each standard statement for every grade level. Like, here's the K-3 narrative, and it tells about multilingual learners will share ideas about one zone and others, like lived experiences, connect stories. I mean, it does that, plus the other one is actually,
So it's similar to like, if you pick up like a book, this is what kindergartners should know
Right.
at the end of
Mhm.
kindergarten. So it's
Yeah.
got similar things,
and like
there's
this
similar
one, there's
goals.
a table, and it kind of tells,
Uh-huh.
at the end of level one, they should be able to sound things out, you know, for each grade level and for each subject, like for reading, for math, for social studies. So, I mean, I hope this didn't just mess it up.
That makes sense.
I feel like we
Oh,
go
no.
back to your PowerPoint. It might come
Huh?
back. Go back to your PowerPoint. It might
I
come back.
did. On it.
Or why we can't do things. Not me.
There we are. See, I just have to- I just have to move ahead, move ahead.
Taught you how to stand up, yeah.
Don't mess with me.
I would like this reported to IT.
Yes, this is just, Jessica broke it before I could get it down here. Okay, I just wanted to point this out, because this is something we kind of tell the teachers. These are some common issues we found with the ML students. They may act out in class due to not understanding. That are our newcomers. They do not understand, so they're bored or they can't do anything, so they might act out. It's important to realize students' knowledge of academic language may be low, therefore it's important to stress the gist of the lesson and focus on the information you'd like them to retain. This is something we stress to the high school teachers, because if you've got newcomers or level 1, 2 students in high school, all that they have to read is too much for them, because it's, you know, English, and their academic language is not that strong. So we're always like, we need to focus on what do you want them to get out of this lesson? What, you know, and then we can go from there. What is the main idea that you want them to get? The social language is more advanced in their academic language. It seems as if they may understand what you're talking about, but they may be totally oblivious due to their lack of background knowledge. I have teachers go, well, they speak perfect English. They're not, well, yeah, they speak it because that's a social language, and they get that in 3 to 5 years. Academic language is 5 to 7 years to get. And then it's just constant as they go through. Okay, see, I'm at my conclusion, see? Okay. As our multilingual learner population grows, so does our responsibility to support them. Together, through strong instruction and intentional support, we can ensure every student has the language and competence to succeed. Now, I just wanted to take a little time to give kudos to my staff. I have 2. I have one at the elementary and one here. So Andy Noriega, she's working with our elementary school, and she is doing a great job. She's providing the needed supplemental skills. I'm seeing progress. I go in and serve her, and these kids are just, you know, picking up like crazy. Ben, he does a great job with our older students. His primary focus is to work on developing academic language, which is needed for students to be successful. He encourages his students in everything to do, thus his resource room is always full. And he's got a small room, so we might have to do something about that next year. But he's got so many kids that come in, and he also does the accommodated room for the standard testing, like for ASVAB and SAT and PSAT, and iLearn. So, yeah. Any
Thank you.
questions?
So how, and it may be simple, I don't know, so you said that you have people that are exchange students?
Uh-huh.
If it's not like everybody's learning Spanish, like how do they understand like English? I'm just
They both
curious.
speak English. I mean, that's
Oh,
what they
that's a
are
requirement.
multi.
Yeah, they probably
have,
wouldn't
like,
let
3
them
or
come
4
over if they
languages.
didn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they speak English, and,
Okay.
you know, yeah, so. Cassie, do you want to come up and try this? I'm gonna try to sneak away
Worst
from
case
it.
scenario, I have a TV on a cart in my room. I can
Take 3.
Oh,
right
okay.
down the hallway.
All right.
Well, thank you for your time.
Okay.
Good job, Jenny. Good job.
Yeah, nice job, thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
I wonder
next.
what you'll call it next year.
Oh, who knows? Well, this just changed like the last year or two, so we'll probably
Oh,
have a few
keep it
years
for a
of
while
this.
then.
Yeah.
Here it goes.
Uh-huh.
Man.
Oh, off to a good start.
It likes you.
Yeah, we're gonna cross our fingers it stays that way. Okay, so Cassandra Weaver, I'm the special education director. So this is now my second year at APA. So I feel like our motto in special education this year has really been making things intentional and meaningful. So the first year is here, we definitely did a lot of changes at the elementary, and we are continuing to make changes. We made additional changes at the elementary again, because if I think of special education, you can compare it to construction. Okay, you're building a house. Are you gonna start with your walls, or are you gonna pour your foundation first? Okay, so we have to make a solid foundation. I can't jump to high school and not be making a meaningful there in the elementary. So working with Captain Settlemeyer to really build what is meaningful and as quality special education program in the elementary. So we're a scaffolding success because we're going from little bitties all the way up to cap and grounds, geez. Okay, so horrible picture, the only one I had. So elementary changes. So we went from one special education teacher and 3 instructional assistants to 2 special education teachers and 1 instructional assistant. One of those instructional assistants is inside the classroom the entire day, because our second grade special education is our anomaly. Just across the board, across the district, it's our anomaly. It is 50% identified. And it is not 50% identified with like just learning disabilities. This is more of like our autism, our emotional disabilities, our larger disabilities that have a larger impact on our students.
You're saying that 50% of the second graders are,
Are mine.
The COVID
Yes.
baby, the COVID babies.
Yep.
really?
Yep.
Wow.
So
Oh,
how do we support those teachers?
yeah.
Well, we support those teachers by giving them someone in their classroom to share that load.
Hmm.
Okay, that helps meaningful teaching. So if our teacher has her small group rotation, there is someone in that classroom who can take those high needs.
Mhm.
So that you got 2 adults in there at all times a day. It's really supporting that classroom. It has shown, if you take last year's data that I can't put in this report to this year's data, you see a whole different perspective on a learning environment. It is a stable learning environment.
Mhm.
So that has been a huge success.
Now, below the second grade, is that trend going to continue then, do
No.
you think? Just the one
No,
time?
we
That's
honestly
good.
have very minimal students identified at all
Mhm.
below those 2 grades. Like I'm saying 1 to 2 students per first and second in kindergarten.
That's a relief.
So that's where I'm like, second grade's our big anomaly. So we'll continue to structure that to support that grade level, because it's not going to change. If these students stay at APA, that impact will stay the same, they'll progress through their goals. But having 2 TORs has been very impactful. So 2 licensed teachers. So not only are they licensed in special education, they are also dual licensed in general education. So 2 very high quality teachers who are leading our special education instruction. So because of this, we have seen a lot of growth. So we progress monitor every term. So if I have an IEP goal, I have to collect my data off the instruction that I was giving, to see where our growth is. So I got with them on Friday during that PD day, and we talked, what does our growth look like? And overall, I don't have the statistics, but I made that they're starting to pull it. Like, this is part of our intentional. We're pulling our data. We're looking at our data. Majority of their students have already met their year-long goals by the end of term 3. So what that means is now you're gonna have another case conference. We're gonna set some new goals, because we're not at grade level yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there. That's the goal. So that's on that side of me. That is Miss Kitchens. Last year was her first year. And then our new additional hire in the pink shirt right here. This is Miss Brumback. We stole her from Yorktown. So she's our additional hire this year. So kind of our engine for support. We're taking our general education structure, we're combining it with our special education, really building collaboration, right? Because we are trying to get these kids to reach their general education curriculum. So we are scaffolding it. So they might be here, we're building that ladder so they can understand this. Because as we do this, then we can get our skill mastery and confidence. This data is from you'll see in this side and the next slide. So we have done 9 initial evaluations at the elementary so far this school year. So this is charting 6 of those students. Sorry, I don't know what happened here. This is student 1, but then student 1's down here. So VOY means beginning of year. So this is looking at their math IXL data. So typically, what we were seeing last year was kind of slow progress growth, mainly like number 6, okay? That's what we would see for an entire year. But let's look at student 3. This is a massive growth. Like, this is a long charted growth. So we are seeing from students who just got identified this school year with collaboration with special education and the general education teacher, we are seeing good growth. And that's in math. So on language arts, same thing. This student 9, started the year at a 400, which means the 4th month of kindergarten, okay? The student has grown 140 points, so that's 1 year, 4 months. So they are currently at the 1st grade, 8th month. The next student, number 5 for language arts, they grew, but they only grew 50 points. These students, they're at their sustained grade level proficiency. So we're not losing, we're maintaining. And they're maintaining their grade level. So this is where I'm saying we're trying to be intentional and meaningful. So if you look at this student, okay, this is our red flag student. He is beginning of the year, 2nd month of kindergarten. He is a kindergartner, but he's at currently the same score. So that's our red flag. That means what we're doing is not working with him. So that's where on Friday, we look at this data, something has to change. Looking at the root cause, what is going on?
What is wrong?
Yeah, what is going on? What do we have to change in the instruction and the curriculum? And then we're going to target this, monitor this again, and see, did the changes work?
So Cassie, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, you're good.
So student 5, student 9, obviously that increase.
Mhm.
Student 7 was the red flag. Now, do you have a baseline you can compare to with the average student?
Yes, but from what I have access to, it's a little bit harder to catch. Because when I'm in the programs, I only have special education kids.
Okay.
So like that would be more of kicking it back to him, but that is something we can do.
I mean, I get you're gonna have some outliers with the
Yeah.
red flags. Those are the obvious with numbers, and you can obviously see the 1 year and 4 months.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep, you're good. You're good. I know.
The numbers throw me off, and I'm a numbers person, so I'm just trying to gauge the benefit of your program, which obviously is very helpful. But where can we be of most asset to you in your program?
So I think it's really, can I come back to that?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I don't want to throw your slides off. Sorry.
All right, you're good. So the other thing that we have done, and this is a benefit. So we have now a different curriculum than the gen ed teachers. So they have Hegarty and Amplify. We now have Reading Horizons. So Reading Horizons is more of a special education driven curriculum. So it really uses a lot more of those kinetics. It really gets more of our multi-skilled kids. So like if I'm a visual processor, I can alter the lesson 10 more different ways with our curriculum than what is easily adapted by a general education teacher. And then because we're doing it in the special education setting, this is our data. So I think you tell, green means we're passing, we're getting it. The red is our red flags. The yellow is it's not our strength, but we're not quite where we should be yet. So when we initially started this, let me start with this. The curriculum does not do the assessments in a way that you can give the same assessment. So I give my initial assessment and I know where you are at and what skills you need, but it will not allow me to re-give you that assessment. So the only way I can measure you is to do this. So if I have a student, if I take student 7 and I'm Miss Brumback or Miss Kitchens, he's gotten his small group lesson, so he's in his group of 4, we did this whole lesson. He does his skills check, he doesn't score well. He now gets pulled separately and there's another subdomain that gets delivered, but it won't show up on here because that's our indicator, do new steps. So this curriculum has been really helpful in teaching explicit phonics instruction. And we, Captain Seldermeyer and I, have also been really intentional on our evaluations of our teachers that they're delivering the curricular material correctly the first time. So like the most common error is an R. So majority of people will say the R says and that's just like some people's natural way of saying it. But if I were doing your observation, I'm gonna tell you you're wrong. Because if you say your tongue has dropped. Your tongue has to stay up, your tongue has to stay out against your top teeth, and it's coming from a vocal stem through your voice.
How do you say R?
Yeah, R.
How many of you all just tried that, so?
I'm certified on that.
Who would say
Cassie was
er?
looking at
A
everybody.
lot of people say because
You are.
it's an easy, your tongue just drops. If you're just not thinking about it, your tongue just drops and you just lost that sound. So
Well,
there's
they're lazy speakers.
Yeah, there's lazy speech, but it is the most common speech error. And it's really not a speech error that gets worked on until the 3rd grade because you don't have enough tongue muscle and your teeth are still coming in, your teeth are coming out. It's not appropriate to work on until 3rd grade. So a lot of people will do it incorrectly. And educators, teaching education has changed a lot, even in the last 5 years. You were taught an L a certain way. That's not how you were taught improperly. So it's been a lot of reteaching teachers how to speak. And one of my teachers, she won't care if I say this, she was in speech for her R's. So I still go back to her and I'm like, all right, let's practice your speech sound. And like, cause it's a mental thought process to correctly say it, but we're also being intentional with, these are vocal sounds, these are aired sounds, these are nasal sounds, and the kids are identifying, and then I'm like, okay, what type of sound was that? It was a nasal sound. Great, so where should you, in my nose, yep. I know an H, when I say, I feel a puff of air. That's like if I have a microphone, am I probably gonna get feedback when I say a P? Puh. You're gonna hear the microphone feedback. Okay, so because I have that push of air. So like getting them to understand that is embedded into their curriculum, which is helping them become better speakers.
Now,
clear
does this have anything
speakers.
to do with, I think there was a number of years when they got away from teaching phonics or phonetics,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And that this is basically the result, and we're going
Bringing it
back
back.
to it, okay.
That's what I was gonna say, it looks like.
Everything
it's just
old
coming
has
back.
become new.
Yes.
Repackaged.
Wasn't
We
it
don't
book say,
memorize
or they used to
anymore.
call it, or something, I don't,
So it used to be like hooked on phonics, right?
Yeah.
And those parts.
Yeah.
And we moved to this whole language approach. And so when I started teaching in 2005, that was, oh, you know, we're teaching whole language, all that stuff. I went to get certified in London Bell because kids need to know phonics, right?
Mhm.
Phonemic awareness,
Yeah.
all of that. The whole sound it out, right? Well, they have
you can
nothing
always
to
spell
access.
something phonetically and then look up the correct spelling later, but yeah.
If you
it's
have
not
those
bad.
skills, spell checks, I got you.
Yeah.
If you don't have those skills, spell checks, like, I got nothing for you, man. But the shift, it now with science of reading, even a lot of the curriculum that the state has kind of pushed out, there's still not enough of the phonics in there. And so that's why we've had to add some supplemental, some extra, because that's what our kids need. And Cassie's program's showing the results of why that's so important.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so like I said, so our elementary is our foundation, our pre-academy is our acceleration zone, okay? Like the walls are going up, the drywall's getting put in place. Then our stage is our high school. So that's our finishing touches. So if we look at this current academic class, so the class of 26, we have 8 special education students who will be graduating. So we have 2 academic honors, 3 technical honors, 2 core 40s, and 1 early grad.
Who's also a core 40.
Who's also a core 40, yes. So of these, 2 of them are in our top 10. 1 of them scored a 96 on his ASVAB. Another one scored a 77. And then 2 others scored mid-50s. So
As a reminder, the passing score for us is 31 on the ASVAB, so give you a little perspective there.
yes.
So now, when you talk about special education, does that include if you only need speech therapy?
So in this aspect, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
So this is more of our Miss Renner's team. So like anyone who's getting direct services from our TO or direct consult, any services from our licensed special education teacher, not our SLPs. So we do have 9 total, including speech in this graduating class. So it's great. We officially have no student on alternative assessment either. So that means every special education student who is 6th grade, I know they don't have diplomas, but like they're on a certain track already, 6th grade up, diploma track students, every single one of them. No one's on alternate diploma, which is like an equivalent almost to a certificate of completion. Everyone at this rate will be getting a diploma and ready to walk across that stage. So now we're gonna go in a little bit money. So we talked about Medicaid billing last year. We're trying, same thing, meaningful, purposeful. We've talked, I know, Common Barker's talked, we have 2 virtual SLPs. It's not perfect. It's not our favorite, but man, they're effective. Teachers in the elementary have raved about the growth that these kids have had. We've had numerous kids qualify to be dismissed from speech services. They do an excellent job of explaining where the errors are for the students and helping them make immediate feedback connections. They're also doing a great job of collaborating with the teachers, so the teacher can email them and ask them what they can do, and they're able to give that feedback to the teacher and give suggestions. So while they're virtual, this has been more meaningful than our contract was with that previous company by far. They are also doing a amazing job at their Medicaid billing. And Elise can tell you that is time consuming.
Very much so.
So I actually just got the last remit statement, which has our projection total that we have gotten, just under 9,500, whereas last year we ended the school year at just under 7,000. So our remit statements was averaging that our allotments are $2,000 each remittance. And I will say, when I was looking at this, like, there is one SLP who has been super busy. She has not put in her billing yet for the last month, because we put it in monthly, but it's not due to the quarter. So she still has time to put it in. So I do project that is going to go even higher. So, like, again, the virtual SLPs are doing an amazing job. The kids have grown drastically. The teachers are happy, the parents are happy, the kids, they want to run down to speech. They love the speech providers. So, I mean, that makes me happy.
So it's 2 people then that meet with the kids in a virtual environment?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, so it's either
Like Teams or Google Meets or something?
They use Zoom. So either myself or our occupational therapist will be the observer, because someone has to be with the kids. So I have a desk in the elementary special education room, and they're like 4 feet right in front of me, so I can work and watch them at the same time. And then the OT's desk is off to the side, so if I'm not there or I'm doing something else, she can have her groups going, but then still watch them at the same time.
Okay.
So it's a lot of management, but it's being effective. So that's really just the quality of accurate documentation is what is driving that money, to be honest. Like, they're putting the time to do the documentation to get it. We're getting money back for their evaluations because they're putting it in a timely fashion. Overall, just a much better school year with that aspect. Okay. So was your question about what we could do for the program? Is that what you said?
I don't forget my question.
Well, okay, we're gonna go with
No,
He was
fine.
blinded by your brilliancy.
Okay, I was like, it was something, I felt like it was something along those lines. Can we just act like it was?
It was, close. It was in comparison to, I said, so you're gauging the improvement of your students.
Mhm.
How comparatively to the traditional academic student?
So I would say typically you want them to be a month plus or minus the month they're in. So like if I have a second grader and we are in, how many months are we into the school year? We're in
7-ish?
7?
Yes.
7? So if I have a second grader, I would want them to be two, like right on is 270. But I'm gonna give it a little plus or minus. So 250 down to then up for my high ability. Because like Cornknocker said, we do have twice exceptional kids. So when they are at where we want the high ability kids to be, something's not going right for my high ability kid.
Yep.
I want my high ability to be above where I want the rest of the kids. So it's kind of like, what grade are they in? If I'm looking at IXL, what grade are they in? What month of the school year are we in? And then gauging that little buffer because of absences. Maybe we haven't taught that yet in the curriculum and it's not matching to what the assessment's looking at. So that's where I come up with that buffer.
Well, and you strengthened my question, because Cornknocker talked about how she had 6 kids in the senior class out of 53 that over 3 of them scored, they scored in the 50s. You talked about how you also had kids this year, one in the 90s, one in the 70s, one in the 50s, so you had the same amount of kids, but probably a higher percentage that actually passed the ASVAB.
Yes.
So that's why I'm asking those questions.
Yeah, and I do wonder, is that due to the construction of the ASVAB test itself?
So, and I can answer that. So the ASVAB board is based on a percentile so the senior class takes it, it's on a percentile of kids that took it their age from the 1970s. So it's not the kids from like last year or the
Yeah.
percentile they're taking this year, it's the 17, 18-year-olds that took it from the 1970s. So if 31% of the kids are passing it, that's not a good thing compared to the kids in the 1970s. Because all we've done, and I'll say it outright, is we've lowered the standard for them to graduate. Because it's the same test that your husband took, it's the same
Yep,
test that
you
I
sure
took.
did, yep.
And all we've done is lower the standards. Now, going back to what I said earlier, and this is a little tangent, I'm really, really, really happy that last year the junior class over 40% was virtual, and to see that number drastically drop, Jill, I'm flabbergasted, so.
Yeah, and I would point out where it's hard to kind of look at that in a concrete way between high ability and SPED, because in true high ability fashion, not all of them try very hard on that ASVAB because they're like, oh, my academic honors, and they think that you guys are going to just take them, right? Like, no, we want you to try your best, because literally you should try your best on every chance to show all these things. So sometimes we have a couple of our high ability kids that should be getting in that 90 range, or you guys coming in and interviewing me for some security clearance, that they got like a 7 or 11. I've seen an 11.
I've seen it too.
But this was an academic honor and tech honors diploma with a 130 IQ. But it is, especially ASVAB, it is amazing measurement, especially for the kiddos that we serve that are, I know enlistment's a great goal for them, right? But also, the employment and that enrollment part, because part of the features why we keep pushing doing ASVAB, besides that whole military component of it, is it's helping them think about career fields and helping them find where their natural giftedness is. And so I think we're seeing a lot of that too, and it's a test that they're like, wow, this actually means something, not just, did you get a 500 on your SAT? What does that mean for them in their actual life? So
Yeah, and I will say, when I get the ASVAB, I really like it. So like if I go to Skyward, I can see their total score. But what I like to look at is the breakdown score. So I have one student that I'm thinking in my mind. He's like, I just don't know what I want to do. Like, I'm good at chemistry class, but I kind of suck at all these other classes. And so I'm like, your ASVAB score was like overall, okay, it wasn't great. So I'm like, let's look at it. So we went and looked at his breakdown in I think it was HVAC, I think is one of the domains, and like mechanics or electrician or something like that.
Yeah, mechanical, electrical science.
Yes. He was a 92. And so that opened the door to, let's talk about those career fields. So he's a junior. So we sat and we talked about those type of career fields. Well, now this kid wants to go to D26. He has a semi-plan. He wants to go shot out at IUE.
I think, yeah.
With the building thing in Chesterfield, how about that? He's formulating a plan just because, like, we looked at that to figure out what is a strength, because you weren't able to articulate your strength. You just told me you can pass chemistry and you can pass math, but you're saying you don't have strength. You have strengths. So like now he's formulating his plan. That is where I personally like ASVAB, because I'm like, it helps create those conversations and it makes them more meaningful. Yeah,
What grade takes the ASVAB?
11th and 12th.
So they don't get to take it like as a freshman when they're trying to decide.
Make the choices. No.
Yeah, make the choices, am I gonna go, where I wanna go to college, or I wanna go to work, or whatever the
Choose their seal.
Yeah.
Yes, their seal.
Enroll, employ, enlist.
But I don't think they can.
3 E's.
They even can, right? Like, isn't there?
I can talk to you afterwards about that.
Okay, all right.
So the honest answer is they can take it as early as a sophomore.
Okay.
But the state's not gonna waste their resources, or if it's not gonna benefit the state, sending a
Yes.
proctor, sending all that. So they can take it as early as a sophomore.
Okay.
And I think APA, Alexandria, some schools has offered it, but it's not encouraged until a junior, because at that point, they really don't know what they wanna do.
Yeah.
Didn't there used to be some sort of test or something that was like, tell you these are your things that you're good at? Kind of like the Indiana Career Connect thing, or Indiana Career Explorer does?
Yeah.
So we do those in special education when a student is either 13 or entering the 8th grade. So that's when a transitional AP starts. So we start doing all of those. But in addition to that, the CAP department also does a lot of career planning, educational planning, and research and different stuff like that throughout the various stages.
Yeah, and you'll see more of that. So we're obviously working on reworking the graduation requirements as it relates to APA, as well as just embedding all the stuff that the state's requiring. But the career exploration, we moved Prep CC down to 8th grade. So all 8th graders this year took Prep CC first and second semester of it. So they're getting their high school credit for it, but it's giving them that exposure to kind of take those assessments and find that skill set, and then we'll go down another level to 7th grade. One of our ultimate goals is that all of our middle school students, 7th and 8th grade, will take, it's not called Compass now. What is the Ivy Tech test? Formerly Compass, entrance
The
exam.
knowledge check?
Knowledge, yeah,
check?
knowledge, something there. But with that assessment, that will help them be able to start taking dual credit, because the goal is get them started even in freshman year. But yes, it's dual credit for kind of that enrollment path, but it's also those CTE classes. Most of those are going to end up being in that same realm. So there will be a lot of that portfolio building.
Exciting changes going on.
Oh, yes. We're rolling with it too.
Yes, and then another layer in special education is we have a contract through, so, how do I word this? The state
There's Ivy
has
Tech guy that could've helped me on
pre-service
this one.
providers, which is pre-employment service
She did.
providers. So, we are with Bona Vista. So we have a Bona Vista representative who comes in and can work with any special education students in that age range that I talked about, or 504 students, and they do mock interviews, job applications, how do I dress for a job interview. They can get them work studies in the summer, paid internships. It helps them also have another perspective that's not someone from the school, and build those skills as well.
They don't always believe us.
Yes.
Sorry.
Because we say it all the time, so they have to have the outside perspective, just like my children. And I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not good at basketball, if you ask my daughter, even though I coached for many years.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
for
thank
presenting,
you.
Kristen.
Where
Great
is,
job.
your mom's not with, she's usually with you.
No, I don't know where she's at, actually.
Oh, okay.
Riding
Oh,
off into the
probably in the
sunset of
lakes.
retirement.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right, she's
Yeah.
retired.
Yes,
Yeah,
she's
so-
officially retired again.
Again and again.
Yeah, we'll see.
Thank you, great job.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for that, the presentation. Do you have any further discussion this evening? If not, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I make
our
a
meeting this
motion that we
evening?
adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll
What's the
call
time?
adjournment at 7:52 PM tonight. Thank you everyone for attending. Our next meeting is Tuesday, May 5th at 2026.